This is Roger Stone for American Sovereign Bullion. Since 2020, the U.S. dollar has lost over 20% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to rise. Call 844-272-2428 or go to asbgold.com now to get your free gold and silver guide and learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver delivered to your door or held in a gold IRA today. So go to asbgold.com now. Don't wait for the markets to drop. That's asbgold.com.
Oh, boy, thank God he's available. General Blaine Holt, the smartest guy I know, period. You're amazing, General Holt, U.S. Air Force retired. He told me when this war was going to start to the moment, and I hope you can tell me when it's going to end, and I hope you can tell me tonight's not going to be such a big deal. But if it is, I can handle it. How are you, General?
I'm doing great, and I'm humbled and grateful for your friendship, but I hope one day to wear the boot and capes like you prognosticate on me.
Well, it's the real deal. I have people coming up to me all the time. That general was right. He called it right to the minute. So look, 8 p.m. deadline tonight. You know, even by President Trump standards, this is a pretty wild tweet about, ending the civilization. Where are we? What do you think's going to happen?
Oh, everything I am hearing and researching, I think it's a very big deal. And in fact, I don't want to alarm anybody, but what I would say is, since we don't get to know the tactical details, Greg, and since this has a lot of potential to really be a major escalation, I would encourage all Americans, just do prudent things right now. Go top off some gas. Make sure you've got some food. Make sure you've got a little cash out of the ATM would be a good idea. And then after 8 o'clock tonight, at 8 o'clock going forward, if you don't have to be out, don't be. Sit at home and let's just see what occurs. But I'm told that this could be a very big evening.
Oh boy! All right. Why? Why do we have to go big tonight? What's the point?
Well, I think the Iranian people are ready to take things into their own hands. They'll need a little help from us. But I think that the president has basically transmitted that, with our blessings. And that's how I'm kind of reading the tea leaves. And so I want everybody to remember, even though we haven't heard very much in the way of terror cells here since it started, that border has been open for 4 years. And any kind of escalation in the Middle East could cause, a last-minute Hail Mary pass from the mullahs or the ayatollahs. But what we have to remember about them is when they see the end of the line for themselves, then when they martyr themselves, when they're taking themselves out or they're going to fight till the end, they will have things to do that they could care less about. So, you already see desperation with them taking innocent civilians, children and young people, and getting them out there to their power stations, to their power grids and bridges, human shields. They're not trying to put up this propaganda front with the Iranian people anymore that they're benevolent leaders. So there's a shift, and all of the dishonesty is falling away now. I don't want anybody to just be complacent here. Just be careful and cautious. I don't mean to overreact. Don't freak out. But tonight could be a very big night, and we should all just be cautious.
So, if you were in the White House, look. My understanding is this. We have achieved most of our objectives. So we have degraded their missile, degraded their nuclear. We certainly have punished them for exporting terror, and we have degraded their ability to export terror. My understanding was if we stop operations, we could declare victory, and the Strait of Hormuz could naturally reopen. What's wrong with that? Because the objective here was never really a new regime, or is President Trump saying, I guess these guys are never going to abandon their ways. They'll always cling to something, and we can't get rid of every single missile site in the country. Therefore, we got to go bigger. Is that it?
Well, we've gone we've gone past that point in my own estimation. Others may argue otherwise, but This regime, if they were left in place, even the embers of it, even the skeleton of it, they would be committed to jihad and revenge against the United States and American citizens in perpetuity forever. So there is no reverse gear on that. The regime's now completely got to go. That has to be one of the objectives I think the president has in mind. The other thing is, if the Iranian people will take matters into their own hands, the straits will be open tomorrow, and they'll welcome us in with open arms. And then they'll let us go hunt down wherever that uranium is, and then we'll welcome the Iranian people in. I don't see the president walking away from that type of victory if it's within grasp. We just don't know that it's within grasp for very good reasons, and we won't know for the next 24 hours. I'm just cautioning that a dying enemy that is irrational and crazed will do anything on its way out.
Okay, so to get what we want, to get those objectives met, we have to get rid of the regime. I know nobody wants to say regime change, and the only way really to get them all out would be a popular uprising. 90 million people in Iran, right? I mean, how many of them would be on the side of the regime no matter what? What's your sense of that?
Very few. Very few. You know, the Muslim Shia population of Iran demographically is less than 10%. You, of course, have the inner circles, and, you know, they have a lot of their kids here on Rodeo Drive driving around in G-Wagons and doing whatever. But they had a police state. They had the Iranian people under their thumb. They had them convinced that they would be benevolent. At least they wouldn't massacre people. All that's gone away. They've killed 40,000 people, and now they're lining up kids on power stations, which is why I think the president threatened the power grid. He knew full well that they would do something like that, but now the Iranian people can see it for their own selves.
Okay, a couple of more quick things. Yesterday he was saying bridges and power plants. You know, Tuesday's going to be Bridges and Power Plants Day, and everybody was yelling and screaming that it was a war crime. Number one, let's be clear. My sense is, both from my experience in the military and my experience watching movies my entire life, that bridges and power plants are prime military targets in any war, correct?
Yes, that's very, very good observation. Listen, if a tank or a troop can roll over it, it's a target. And if a tank or a troop can light themselves by it, it's a target. But now let's take a look at the strategic effects, because everything you do, you could win the battle, but you might lose the war. And what we don't want to do is lose the war. And so we have to support what comes next for the Iranian people. That means don't take out all their power grid. Don't take out certain things that they're going to need to have an economy to rebuild their country. Now, the president said, well, we'll help them rebuild their country, but you can only damage it so much before you're in for years of infrastructure projects. And so the strikes today on Karg Island were perfect. They actually hit the IRGC to keep them from going and sabotaging their own stuff, which is what martyrs do on their way out the door.
All right, so let's take a look at the tweet from today. The civilization of Iran will come tumbling down. Actually, let me see if I got the exact wording here. I mean, he's talking about eradicating the civilization. That obviously is, please, what the hell is that all about?
Okay, so you could read that a couple of ways. So he doesn't say which civilization. Maybe he means the civilization of the mullahs. But another way that you could read that is he's obviously not communicating with the American people. He is sending messages to Iran, like when he said, Allah be praised. So it's a little speculative on my part, but I think the president's talking in code. And I think what he is saying is this is your moment. After 8 o'clock tonight, you'll never get a better opportunity to get your country back. And you probably should take it.
All right. Well, I like that. And, but one other thing, is this possibly a domestic thing? Because, you know, if you're going to cry about, genuine military targets being a war crime, I mean, no one's debating military bridges and power stations anymore. You know what I mean? Like, this can be interpreted like, okay, if liberals start talking about this is a war crime, I gotta make sense of that. But no one's talking about the previous thing. Is this just President Trump being outrageous on Twitter for an effect on his critics? Not just, yeah.
It very well could be, but I don't think so. In fact, I love the humor element to go fight them back and just say, well, if the Iranians would simply paint blue the bridges that are military and green the ones that are for civilian use, we will do much better. If they'll mark the power plants that are only for the military, we'll be just fine. In other words, you got to roll them up in their own facetiousness. Now, the president does that on social media every day, but there's definite shifting in his messaging and how he's using it down to the profanities and the expletives that all made us go, ooh, don't do that. But I think it was for a purpose. Honestly, the president is very invested in getting to the end of this thing with as minimal force as possible. And I think we're looking at the final act. I would just say, keep your head on a swivel while we do.
Very good. A couple of more very quick things. I mean, and I trust President Trump. I do. And there's always, quite frankly, I had a fight with a friend of mine once, not that long ago. And you know what I said in the heat of the fight? I said, F you. And I said it out loud. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever said that. Like, usually, I never said it to a person. I didn't recall. I've used the word plenty, but I never said F you. You know what I mean? In the middle of an argument. I don't think I ever said that, but I did. And I love this person. And then, President Trump is using it at our enemy. I mean, everybody needs to relax a little bit about that with the 25th Amendment and all that stuff. Then again, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, and and a couple of others, right, who are now actually saying 25th Amendment President Trump. Yeah. I mean, you got to worry about the domestic too, right?
You absolutely do. And he's got to worry about his political base. We talk about this is, look, you can have the best 5D chess plan in the world, but if you wipe out your political base at the same time, it may not take you to the place you want to be. And so I think after this part's over, Greg, he really does need to get behind that Resolute desk and commune with the country and say, okay, here's what happened. This is how I was playing it, and now you can see the rest of the story. I hope to the extent that he can do that, it'd be great, because I know there's so many supporters of his that just want to understand more. I have so many people that have written me over the social media posts saying, sir, what's happening to our president? I said, he's fine. But he'll have to come back to us after this is over and explain it all to us. But right now is a very tense time. And he needs our support, all Americans, left, right, blue, up, down, those who identify as llamas, those wearing blue hair, doesn't matter. Your country needs your support right now.
Blaine Holt, by the way, the podcast, Dangerous Intellectuals. I encourage people to check it out. And Blaine Holt, also at _irascible. Just unbelievable content, unbelievable insight. We so appreciate it, and I think we're all going to be okay. And thank you for your words of caution. Yeah, they could strike here.
Can't thank you enough.
You bet, sir.
Can't thank you enough, my friend.
Thank you very, very much.
Sacco and Felix, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFilas.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's.